Is it working now? Are you still there, Mux? Try refreshing. Hit F5. But yeah, I've just been feeling like I can't really think straight. And maybe that's just because my expectations over what I should be doing or how my brain should work. And maybe I should just learn how to accept that maybe things are really just fine. Oh my god, I had no idea I had some wheat thins. I forgot about these. These hurt my teeth really badly, by the way. And I try to avoid them. Yeah, these are emergency only. Like I changed my diet significantly, so I the only carbs I get are from fresh fruit or oatmeal, which I'm gonna have soon. And I have one big meal a day of my kale turkey recipe. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I can't organize anything. I was looking for everything had like everything in my room is just disorganized. I try my hardest to organize everything. I just feel so disconnected, and the longer time goes on, the harder it seems to get. And that's how that especially since it's like the closer I get to the surgery, the more I realize why I need it. There's like this really kind of fucked up feeling in my head, and I just want to get rid of those feelings. I want to get rid of those thoughts. I just want to go through the surgery and hit the reset button. And yeah, I know that like not everything is going to be solved. There's going to be a lot of problems left over, but I would like to be able to work on those problems. I'd like to find out who I can be. And I have to keep working hard, and I am working hard. So I really just kind of have to figure out how to exist in this transitionary period, because I've been trying to figure it out the past 4 years, and I've managed to get here. I haven't, I'm still alive. I'm still here. But I have to figure out how to get through this last. I actually feel like this is the most difficult part, because now it's reliant on my health, where before everything was other people's thing going on, and now it's about me. So it's really difficult to like kind of like just hold on, knowing that there's really nothing, there's really no reason to believe. There's really no reason to believe that I won't be able to get my A1C down. Like everything indicates that it will definitely come down. So I don't know really why I'm so fucked up about all this. Um, mm, Yeah, I think first, if I look at like what my goals are, as far as my creative work, so we have creative goals. I do have creative goals, and I just can't really seem to uh can't seem to really focus. What is stopping me? And yeah, I have like the usual excuses like big event, surgery, taking up mental bandwidth, mental and emotional bandwidth. But how do I like approach that? So, one, surgery, um, like what are some ways to work through this instead of making excuses? Like I don't necessarily really know like why I can't seem to break through on any of my creative goals. Like this thing is holding me back, but it's such a big thing. Like this is the kind of thing that like people write books about. Like this is a life-changing event. This is like the kind of thing that, I am rightfully so dedicating a lot of bandwidth to. Because if I wasn't, there would be no way to get through. It's not even an option. It's just there's no avoiding it. It's just what it is. It's a difficult thing that I committed to because I know I need it. So there's no option but to move forward. Because the only thing would be to move backwards, and that's not going to happen. I would die before I let that happen, and I don't want to die. So there's only one option, which is to move through it. And I'm going to be better off for it. I've been better off this entire process, as difficult as it might be for some people who have observed me in small amounts these past 4 years. Overall, it's been a positive experience. But the thing is that the fact that I'm thinking about what I can do beyond this surgery, like what are the next parts of my life? Like what are the next things? And the next steps, next phase, which is like a 5-year plan, is going to be start. Oh God, there's something. Start working on like school. I want to take some business classes, business and like accounting. certificates, um, but classes. Actually, I just want a one. You know, I feel like going back to school. Um, going back to school gives me an environment conducive to building social skills. And these are skills that I want and the skills that I need. Because it's twofold, you know, it's like what I want almost doesn't matter anymore. Right now, I'm trying to just survive. You know, I'm approaching 36 and you know, I'm approaching 36 and it doesn't even really matter what I want anymore because I kind of have a huge idea of what I want. It's already kind of established. Like, I mean, it's not really something I have to think about. Like, I mean, what I want will just kind of come through what I need. You know, I'll naturally kind of direct myself towards what I want. But what I need are social skills, business skills. You know, I do have a lot of these. Recognizing what I have is actually really important. What skills I already have. Like recognizing the skills that I already have, like like social skills, technical skills, personal skills. And if I go to, you know, skills, social, I'm actually really professional when I work in a professional setting. Like when I'm in the right kind of situation, I am pretty good at mirroring what needs to be done. What? Why? Can't find the drive? What the fuck? What is going on? Okay, now it's back. Although it shouldn't be in music sketch. It should be in handwriting. Oh, I guess it's all there. Okay. Yeah, I do need to recognize that I have these skills already, and that I just don't give myself enough credit. And I need to start building confidence in what I already possess. Because if I don't, I'm just going to fall apart. So, realization. If I don't recognize what I already have, what skills my entire internal thought process falls apart. And it's like this is something that really happens. Like I keep raising the bar. So if I have like a goal here, this is me, and this is the goal. And most people, usually go, others. Is my perception of it. I kind of start at a place, because I'm a little bit different. Most people kind of start around here because they're, atypical. I mean, they're neurotypical. I'm and this isn't like a measure of like, difference. This is a measure of difference and not measure of worth. So that, just because it's higher up doesn't necessarily mean I'm better. I'm just saying it's different. So most people, and this is like progress, which is like a measure. Most people kind of go this way towards their goal, more or less. But I kind of I start out like maybe I'm kind of like at the very beginning, I'm like really, I go above the goal. But then I kind of, my idea of myself goes below where I should be. And then I kind of gradually go up a bit. But then I kind of go back. Then I kind of like feel like I'm going down here. And then, maybe I kind of drift here for a while. And then maybe I go like way above the goal again. But then I immediately fall back, and then I kind of stay down here for a while, maybe a little bit up, and then somehow I can manage to reach the goal randomly. And I guess I should make that a different color. It's so exhausting. Like, this is what it's like for me. Every single time I do eventually reach the goal. That's the thing. I do eventually reach the goal. Like, this still happens. But like the process is like it's like this crazy roller coaster ride where I've already kind of met my goal early on. Like, it depends on the goal. Like, this is more of a general kind of idea. Sometimes, obviously, some things are really difficult depending on what your goal is. But if your goal is achievable, a lot of the times I achieve my goal really early on. Like, I've actually like kind of gone above what I wanted, but I don't realize it. And then I kind of like raise the bar, and my expectation, like, this becomes this. Like, it translates to it. Or I move it, I raise the bar, and this becomes a new scale. And then I try to reach it, but like, really, this is actually like way up here, like way up there. But then I drop back down, but even when I drop back down, I'm still up here. As far as like realizing my goal from like the beginning, but I keep raising the bar. Because I feel like everything needs to be some kind of challenge internally. Even when I like talking about it right now, even when I'm like voicing this and talking about it, even knowing about it, it still happens. Even though I don't want it to. And it's just a case of like, my environment that I was surrounded by, and I do have an autistic brain, and that brain, not necessarily because inherently being autistic makes you that way, but in effect, being autistic makes you very susceptible to your environment, which created this. So in effect, when I say autism did this, it's not necessarily autism, but in effect it is. So it's easier just to say autism, because that's really kind of how autism works. That's why it's like a spectrum. Your brain is wired differently. So every single experience you have is filtered through that different system, and it compounds on itself over time. And I've learned a lot of techniques these past couple of years in therapy to be able to manage things, but it's still chaotic in my head, and I keep raising the bar on what my expectations for myself are. I don't know how to just be this gradual climb. I don't know how to accept, because I see this even when I know that it's not true. I see this goal as mediocre. Even though in order to achieve anything you want in life, all you have to do are meet these goals. And then you meet the next goal, and then you meet the next goal. It's not about how, where, you don't have to, if you meet the goal, it doesn't matter how much higher you met it. Like, if I meet the goal early on, I shouldn't continue to work on the goal. I already met the goal. Why am I trying to min-max for every single little thing that I do? And these goals, these goals aren't necessarily big giant goals. These are imagine this as a little teeny tiny goal. I want to wake up early in the morning. I've already been doing that for a year. Actually longer, really. I've been consistently waking up 6 or 7 in the morning. But for some reason, I'm because I don't do it every day, and because I haven't done it for I have to maintain it for years and years and years, because I keep raising the bar. I already am consistently waking up early in the morning. And here's another one. Catching myself. Another goal is to recognize my strengths. And I meet those goals all the time. I meet that goal consistently. But for some reason, I feel like I'm failing. So I go back way down here thinking that I'm not meeting the goal at all, thinking that I'm below other people. It's exhausting. And then it's like I climb back up when I'm already way up here. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, why I think that I'm way down here when I'm already up here in most things in my life. Like, yeah, there's certain goals that I'm like, still climbing. And I do have real challenges, but those goals are, you can break those down into little teeny tiny goals. And I'm doing those tiny goals pretty well. I've been pretty damn consistent these past 4 years, and I've been improving and improving and improving. But there's certain goals that are somewhat out of my control. Like, I can't control whether or not I'm successful, when it's requiring external factors. Like, you can't really control whether or not people like you. You can kind of control yourself and be like, well, what's the kind of person I want to be? Like, what can I do to be somebody that I would be proud of being, that is going to attract people that I would feel comfortable with? And that's a really difficult thing to do. Like, it's really difficult to do. Yeah, I don't, see, even this right now, the fact that I'm even thinking about this and talking about this and writing a fucking graph. Do you know how many people just ignore this entirely? Like, it's like, seriously, what the fuck is wrong with me to even think that I'm a failure? Like, a failure doesn't draw a motherfucking graph. Like, what the fuck? Like, really? Like, why do I have this idea of myself that I'm a failure? Where the fuck does this delusion come from? Maybe it just comes from my material conditions. It's really hard to feel like a success when you're not financially established, when you don't have an established support system for career, when you don't have any mentorship for career. And I don't even know how to find mentorship, and I don't even have the mental bandwidth right now to even do that. And every single time I work with the people who are on my team, who I've enlisted, like my therapist, my doctors, and I've even reached out to people in peer support. And these are things that I'm not required to do. These are things that I've done because I want to make myself better. I've enlisted people to be on my team. And these people continually tell me, Rebecca, like, you are doing just fine with where you're at. But I don't feel fine. I feel like I'm failing. That's where this dip is. Like, I feel like I'm failing. When I'm doing the exact opposite of failing, I'm succeeding. I'm succeeding in the goals that I have control over. Because, like, I have a special gift. And I guess this is kind of like ability to reach goal. I have a unique ability. And I'm not trying to just, like, be egotistical here, or, like, I'm not saying that I'm like a virtuoso or like like, what do you call it? I'm not saying that I'm perfect. or that I'm really good at things right when I start. What I'm really good at is grasping things and having the potential to bring it to an extremely high level. That if I do something new, I can bring it up to a place. And when I say this is an ability to reach goal, it's not that it's not in the sense of, because in a lot of ways I'm not very skilled, but what I am is capable of improving. So when I see something as an ability to learn something, I feel like that's way more important than having some kind of arbitrary skill level, because the skill level can improve. And that's the way I see things. Because if you, like for chess, for example, you can't really say that there is any kind of skill level in chess that you're going to be happy with. You're going to be wanting to improve for the rest of your life. But to get to a place where you can improve takes a lot of effort. And it's difficult for everybody. So that's why it kind of appeals to me, because I have this innate ability to really grasp things early on that most people take a long time to do. It doesn't make them inferior. It just makes me different. That I from an early age, I was like, I had like specialists like examine me, because I was like a lot more talented at, like, I was gifted. And I was like, people were trying to figure out, like, not what was wrong with me, that's how it felt, but like they were trying to figure out like if I was a genius. And then I didn't match their expectations as far as behavior went, and I kind of fell through the cracks. Because they're like, oh, you're not living up to your potential. You're so smart. Why are you behaving like this? And it's like, yeah, I could have had a lot more mentorship and support, but I didn't, because I didn't have those resources. And unfortunately, I didn't have like wealthy family that could have like gotten coaching for me for anything, really. I kind of was on my own, and I was a child. So, it was a coin toss. And unfortunately, that's how it is, but I can only work with what I have, with what reality is. So I try not to dwell on it too much. Let me fix the webcam just a little bit. Oops. I don't know. I think I'm spending way too much time on that. I don't recognize the skills I already have. Who are you even talking to? I'm talking to myself. Why else would you stream? like, what are you talking about, Lay Audio? Like that's the whole purpose, is to be able to organize your thoughts. I don't know why other people stream, but that's why I stream. I kind of like need to kind of organize my thoughts, and people might find it fascinating, but that's not really the intention. I mean, it might be useful. I think it's useful. It's useful for me, so it might be useful for someone else, right? I mean, that stands to reason, right? Like, logically it seems that if it can be useful for me, then it might be useful for some other people too. I mean, I can't guarantee that, but I mean, which kind of like that kind of opens up to like, another topic. And you actually helped. You're a part of it. So that's kind of why I do it. Like people will show up and kind of, get me out of my own head, right? Instead of just being isolated into my own thoughts. And when you do that, sometimes it's really good to have an echo chamber of your own thoughts so you can focus enough, which I do allow time for. But this is a different kind of activity where I kind of open it up a little bit and get outside of my own echo chamber. That's kind of the point, is that there's potentially people that can come in that can get me out of my echo chamber. So why stream? Are an echo chamber. Yeah, so my own thoughts are an echo chamber. Allows others to influence discussion. Why not join a community, get a hobby, allows you to meet and talk to others? Because I don't work that way. I try. I mean, I do that kind of stuff, but this is a separate kind of activity. I don't really work well in communities. I'm autistic. I do try to get it. I do try to improve it, but I get really frustrated when I'm talking to other people, and also on Discord and stuff. Most people don't want to talk to me. I try to, but I don't really work that way. When I'm talking to people, I work differently. This is more in a vacuum, because I can control what the environment is, and also I don't have a voice it's different when it's text. Like, for example, like right now, I'm working with text, so I don't have to have you interrupting me. If that makes any sense. Like, if I'm talking to people in a voice chat on Discord, for example, it's going to constantly be bombarding me with audio information. And I process text a lot easier. And also it allows me to kind of create an internal space, because this is I'm not trying to interact with people. I'm trying to create I'm kind of like opening a window into my internal process, if that makes sense. So streaming, so streaming opens a window into my internal process, whereas so as opposed, it's a completely different activity than community, as opposed to community events or hobbies or socializing. This isn't socializing. I'm not here to socialize. Hey, Millie Cooper. Well, thank you. So this is more of it's more of like I mean, like right now, it's very obviously like I'm writing things down, and it's kind of like it's almost like an act, like a college like a university lecture, right? That's not really how socializing works. Like you don't hang out with your friends. I mean, maybe sometimes, but do you know what I mean? Like I'm not streaming in order to socialize. I'm streaming in order to open a window into my internal process. Like that's why I'm streaming. Because that's what streaming is. Yeah, like sometimes you do community events, but that's very different. Oh, thank you. I sometimes feel really self-conscious about my appearance or about my voice. I know that like a lot of that is internal. You know, this is what I'm talking about with like I keep raising the bar. Like this is my number one problem. Like number one issue. This is my number one issue. It's the one, and the ironic part is that in order to fix this issue, I have to not have this issue. Because I have this issue when trying to fix this issue. I'm like, I need to get better at not raising the bar. It's like it's ironic. It's you can't fix this problem by like it's like what do you call it? Not an iron. It's not irony. It's like a paradox. Okay, I'll check Instagram later. Like, it's a total paradox. Like, in order to fix this issue, I can't be having the issue. It's like, it's so ridiculous. Yeah, so like, this is more of like, the way I run my streams, I kind of just open up a window for other people to peek in. I'm not necessarily, I don't really work that, I do have goals of, I do have goals of real life and online community building, but that's a separate goal. That's not connected to streaming. Streaming is a tool I use in order to think in a different way. Because like I have like a workspace. Like right now, like the literal fact that I am working with a program to write things down and draw things and and make graphs. Like this is something that like, yeah, I can do this stuff on my own too. And I do. Well, if you want to design a logo, you can just, you know, just send me a DM on Instagram or something. But I'm not going to pay you any money, so I'm going to get that out of the way now. I don't need, like, I have like one viewer. Why would I need a professionally designed logo? It doesn't make any sense. You might I don't know. Good luck on your professional endeavors, but you're not gonna get me. I'm gonna, you know, so you know, maybe that'll, you know, I hope you stick around, but you know, I don't want to get your hopes up. I can't be scammed. I'm too knowledgeable. I know what streaming really is. It's not a viable career option. At least not in the present circumstances, and I'm not going to try to make it. You know what I mean? Like it's not something you can really try. It's something that just is, and it doesn't mean it'll never be that way. It just means that either it is or it isn't, and the rest of your life has to match that. So like, let's say I started my professional modeling career when I start doing that. which I can't really do right now. But I won't check it on stream. I'm sorry. I'll check it later. You can guarantee. I'm gonna guarantee you, and maybe you don't know me well enough, but if you knew anything about me, I am definitely gonna check. I check my DMs. I respond to DMs that are, respond worthy. But I'm not going to buy professional design. I'm going to tell you that right now. So don't even try. I'm sorry. I'm sure you do good work and I will check it out, but don't expect me to pay you money. I'm not going to buy professional work because why? It's like, okay, imagine your car is broken down and the engine is on fire. But you're installing a new windshield when it's not even broken because you want a new, shiny windshield or whatever. You want a new windshield for some reason, or windshield wipers. Or you want to put fancy sparkling things on your rims. You're spending money on things that you don't need to be spending money on. You need to be spending money on repairing the engine that's on fire. I'm not going to pay anything. I'm going to time you out for a while. In fact, I'm going to time you out. Yeah, don't do that. You can't scam me. You can scam some, naive, don't do this, but you might be able to scam some brand new people who just started streaming, but I'm not delusional to think that buying a fucking logo is going to make me a professional, successful streamer. You don't try to be a professional streamer. Streaming is just capturing what you already have. And if you don't have anything, it's only going to capture what you have, which is why I changed my mindset to make my stream about what I want to use it as a tool for. 'Cause, streaming isn't a job, but a tool. And that it could be a job, but only if you are in a situation let's say you have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. Well, then obviously, example, here we go. Example. YouTube. You're a YouTuber. And you have 500,000 subscribers. And you want to create goal is to connect with viewers in a casual way, or you have a goal of creating unique live content. Now, whatever financial gains you get from that depend on your how big you are. Because obviously if you have 500,000 subscribers, there's a reason, and you're probably going to have a lot of viewers, and you're probably going to be able to get sponsors. Or, here's another example. You're a scientist, and your goal, you have a goal of sharing your work. You have a goal of starting a public discourse. You know, and there's so many different reasons why you should stream. But let's say you have, let's say you have zero clout in society. So then why would anyone come to your stream? They don't know you exist. So why would they come? They don't exist. A person who does not exist cannot show up to your stream. You can't create a stream just because you have a stream. Like, yeah, people are gonna pop in and, you know, they might stick around, but even that is building something. Like, those are people who've seen you and then they get added to your list of followers. But that is like, imagine, like, it's like those people who like hand out, like, you know, like people who stand outside of the grocery store and they want you to sign a petition. Most people are going to ignore them. Most people are, I mean, I do. I just kind of walk past them and I say, sorry, I don't have the mental bandwidth to do this. I just want to go grocery shopping and then go home. I don't want to sign a petition to stop, you know, like, you know, making crayons on the moon or something. I don't know what the fuck people sign to. There's always some agenda somebody has, and I don't know enough about it to whether or not I should support it or not. So, like, why would I devote that time when I just want to go to the grocery store? Right? So it, like, reasons not to stream, and it's good to know these things. Reasons not to stream. To grow an audience, because that is not how you do it. Reasons to stream. Use as a tool to work on things that are important to you. Hey, what's up, Eugene? Basically kind of like working on some stuff right now. Like, I you know, this is why I had to time out somebody. Somebody was, you know that there's always those people that come into streams and they're like, hi, and they act like they're probably a bot, but they might not be. There's people that come in and they're like, hey, like, you seem pretty cool. I want to design a logo for your channel. And I'm like, fuck you. You're not gonna catch me. Like, you're not gonna freaking scam me, because that is a scam. I don't have the need for that. Like, I have zero clout in society. Maybe not zero, but, you know, I'm not like a famous person. I'm not a successful YouTuber. I'm not like a successful person outside of the internet. Like if I was like president of the United States, then I would have a platform. I don't have a platform to stand on, so I have to create my own platform. And so I am kind of like, the reason why I stream is because it allows me to have a space to work in a way that I can't work in any other way. Like, this is a unique workspace because because I am broadcasting. It allows me to think differently. Like, you think differently when publicly speaking. You do. And there's a lot of things that you can work on. It is practice. It's practice for real life, but it's also in a smaller way. It's practice for other creative endeavors, because it kind of it gets me ready for things that I'm going to do off stream. In private, because there's obviously a lot of work that has to be done privately. Like, you can't really like start a stream every single time you want to like work something out in your notebook, right? You kind of need to have that vacuum. Sometimes you need the vacuum, sometimes you need the openness. And that's what streaming is about for me. That I can talk about stuff and work through stuff, and then it kind of gets things started. And then when I'm off stream, I'm working on these things. Yeah, you'll find your launch. Ignition. I actually need to make some breakfast. I'll be right back. I really don't want to engage right now. Oh, I did not expect you to be here, so don't act like. I know we have to live together, just we have to do everything. I don't like timing things the same way, just like, why, I don't know why you. I would prefer to be alone and live my own life. Okay, so when I come out of my room, it doesn't mean I want to always talk to you. It really throws me off. I'm kind of in my own space right now. It's early morning. Launch. You gonna launch a missile? So here's another thought that comes to mind. So mind space. And I want to think of like, these are my thoughts or my mental space. And here are other people talking to me and influencing me. And it feels a lot of the time I don't like existing in isolation, but this kind of bombards me and it makes me feel kind of angry. Because I kind of like have like my own internal harmony that I try to create. Like I have some storms, I have some sun. I have, like some, systems in place, like on a conveyor belt or whatever, a factory. I have like, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I do. I have like birds. Flying around. But when other people are bombarding me, it breaks everything. Like everything kind of shatters. I lose focus. Because I'm trying to process everything else around me. I'm trying to process all the information other people are giving me, or it's mostly other people that really work me up. But it's external factors in general. So external factors, external stimulus, interrupts my established internal systems. This wouldn't be a problem. This is normally not a problem. If I am trying to isolate, but the friction comes when my goal is to connect. And I think this is hard for some people to understand, is that when I act, it's like the opposite of the way I act. And I think people interpret my actions in the opposite way of what actually is going on. Because what actually is going on is I feel friction because I'm not trying to isolate, but I feel friction because my brain doesn't work that way when I want it to. I want to connect to others. I want to be able to interact with people and learn new things. And you're always learning new things when you're talking to other people. I'm a social creature. I'm very extroverted. But what happens is, like, I'm autistic, and it creates friction with what my goals are. So the reason I get upset is because I'm mad at myself, because I feel like I should be able to connect with people and not have friction. It would be fine if I was like totally okay with being in my own little world, but I'm not. I want to grow. I want to be a part of the world. I don't want to just be like a unicorn. But that is what I am, and that's where the friction comes from, is because I want to overcome my difficulties. And when you try to overcome things, there's going to be friction. I'm really sus whenever people use the word autist like it's some kind of like profession, like an like when people, and don't take this personally, but it's a pretty big red flag whenever people say say autist. And I think they do have dating apps for people who are autistic, but when you say like an autist, it basically that gives me a huge red flag, because I'm pretty, there's a pretty heavy amount of evidence of the way people talk and the words people use. It gives me a huge indicator that that person is not really somebody I want to be around. You know what I mean? So if you're going to talk like that, bring that elsewhere. It's not because of anything you did or said. It's a red flag. So I'm going to time you out. And, I can't change you, so, you do you, but you're not welcome here if you're going to be weird. If you're going to be one of those weird people that, like, always sees people as subhuman. Because words like that insinuate that being autistic makes you some kind of broken person. And not because of the word itself, because of the way that so many people have used that word. Do you understand? I wish more people understood this. That when people get mad about a certain word, it's not because of the word in and of itself. It's because of what it kind of tells you about the person using the word. Like, there's certain words that are like, slurs. That's not really a slur, but like, it kind of is. It's kind of derogatory statement about autistic people in effect. But it's like when people say, like, transgender slurs or like transphobic slurs. Hey, what's up, Ellie? You're not legit. No, Ellie is legit. Welcome back. I think you've been here a while ago. Yeah, you like back in September last year. Wow, that was like a year ago. Wow. Well, welcome back. I really feel like a lot of people get too offended. It's like, oh, why is this person timing me out? Why am I not welcome here just because I said a certain word? And it's like, well, because I see it from a different standpoint. You might see it from an isolated view, but I see the bigger picture because I've seen so many different people talk like that. And 9 times out of 10, when people talk like that, they're not somebody I want to interact with. So I just kind of notice it and pick up on the red flags, and I kind of just avoid it. Now, obviously, there's people who are just like, well-intentioned. But, being well-intentioned doesn't mean that you're welcome here with that kind of attitude. Like, maybe you're online too much. Maybe you need to go interact with some people in real life, because real people don't talk like that. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly because of the context that it's online. Because if this weren't online, people don't talk like that. People don't say, "Oh, you're an autist." And it's usually online, and it's usually with disdain. From my experience, like, usually online people do not treat autism with very much respect. They see autistic people as like subhuman. And maybe that's not true for everybody, but I'm not gonna like give that person a platform on my stream when this is my stream. It's not yours. This is why I don't interact with certain people. If I wanted to do that, I would go to like a Discord. Yeah, exactly. Where do I draw the line? I don't really know. I don't really think about it too much. I just, if somebody is, I feel like if somebody is causing problems with my thought process, like this, like, in this example I was telling you, if somebody is interrupting my thought process and creating all these fractures in my thought process, I'm just going to remove them. If it's on my stream, if it's in real life, well, I can like, not associate with those people. It's a variable depending on the context. And the cool thing about streaming and why I like stream is because I can use it as a tool where I can control who's in my chat. That if somebody is annoying me, I'm just going to get rid of them. You can't do that in real life, but I can do it here. So it kind of creates a really cool space for myself where I can create not an echo chamber necessarily, but I think everybody should have the ability to create their own space because it is my stream. Why would I create a stream that like bothered me? Why would I show up if it bothered me? So if people are going to bother me, I'm just going to get rid of them. It's not going to be a problem. I'm not going to subject myself to abuse. That you have to pay me to do that. So yeah, like today I kind of I really just like want to organize my thoughts better. And it's really hard because my thoughts are really fragmented. Here's like typical thought process. Initial thought. So here's the initial thought. And then I kind of explore it a little bit. But then interruption. And then it like shoots down and then might eventually get to lose the thought. And I think normally, like, losing thought, like, that's kind of how we work. We have a thought, and then eventually we kind of, like, move on. That's normal. But the problem is I want consistency, but I don't know if I'm capable of doing it. And so that causes a lot of friction inside of my head because there's a lot of things that I want, but I don't know if it's possible. and I get upset that it's not where I want it to be. Well, how about I ban you, East Martyr? You have absolutely no idea. You know what? This assumes an awful lot about... You're assuming an awful lot about me. Why do you think that just because I'm streaming, that means that I'm staying inside all day? I don't understand why people think this. Just because I'm streaming right now doesn't mean this is all I do. What are you talking about? I have a life outside of my computer. In fact, most of the time I work on my computer and then I shut down. Like, what are you talking about? And also, it's not your job to decide for me what you think is productive. Like, what are you talking about? You know nothing about me. I've never even seen you before in my chat. You're nobody. You're nothing. You're a loser. Why should I take somebody who seriously, who knows nothing about me, who only knows me from what they've seen on YouTube? Why the hell would I take that person seriously? Think about it. Maybe you can improve your own life. Because this is how you get shit done. At least this is how I know how to get shit done, is I need a place to process things. Because otherwise I go crazy. I get stuck in my own head and I don't have a way to... Sometimes you want that interruption. Like, this is actually kind of a good thing. And, you know, because if I had the initial thoughts, I would kind of like, you know, sometimes I don't have the interruption and I kind of loop around over here. And this is where the thought loops cause stress. Like, seriously, like, it makes me like makes me feel better about myself when I see comments like that. Like, imagine going into somebody's stream, not knowing anything about them, and immediately criticizing them. Like, what a fucking loser. Like, you're an anonymous username. I've never seen you before, from what I can tell. It's just like, I'm sorry. Like, I hope that your life gets better. Honestly, I mean, I don't know anything about you, so I'm not gonna like tell you what to do. I'm just gonna ban you because it's easier. I'm not gonna take care of your life. Do you see what I'm trying to take care of my own fucking life? Why should I take care of yours? Do the work yourself. And I don't know, I've been on the internet for so long that I kind of just created a space for myself that honestly, like, I could, you know, some people would say that it's a waste of time. I don't think it's a waste of time at all. Because Otherwise, I get stuck in la la land. La la land. When if I put up barriers and shut people out so that other people are talking to each other, you know, if people are talking to each other instead of to me, if there's a barrier, if I just, you know, maybe I let in a little bit, if I have such a big barrier, then I live in la la land. And I don't want to live in la la land. Like, yeah, maybe I could say that maybe I'll feel happier, but I don't think that's true because it's not reality. And I want to improve my life. So my goal is to try to work with this and you know, not make it so that it's like this, but allow this to kind of work, you know, and try to, like, you know, figure out like some kind of band-aid. I don't know if that like figure out a band-aid to kind of heal it and repair it. Like put some glue around these cracks. You know, because the cracks are necessary. It's what makes things change. This is why, you know, shutting yourself in and shutting other people out might create internal harmony. But, you know, sometimes you need that. You know, you definitely need that. But you also need to be able to open yourself up and be able to cope with it, because it makes you stronger. But I would prefer it doesn't make me angry and you know, like that's what the last 4 years of my life have been about. Is I've been trying to make this into more like this. Where I don't want to be stuck in my own bullshit. I want to be able to stand it, because that's reality. You're not going to be able to control other people. You know, and that's where, like, you know, streaming is a good kind of safer environment where I can deal with things that I don't like in a much easier way than you can in real life. Like, you know, I'm not going to go out and talk about the same kind of things that I do on stream out in the real world. Like, that's weird. I wouldn't be doing something like this out in the freaking park. I wouldn't be talking to myself without my computer and without, like, capturing it on stream. Like, it creates a video document. I'm not just speaking to nothing. I'm creating an actual video that I could look at later to, like, remember where I came from and remind myself. That's not something that I wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't a computer, and if I didn't have like YouTube to stream to, or like any website. Like if I didn't have like a streaming platform to stream to, I wouldn't be doing this. I would just be quietly, like, laying in bed with my own thoughts. And the problem with my own thoughts is sometimes I get these rainstorms. And that's also another reason, because La La Land doesn't mean it's happy all the time. Sometimes if I shut people out, I get stuck in my own bullshit. And my own bullshit could be happy, it could be sad, it could be scary, like frightening. Like, you know, like, like some kind of ghost, right? And that's frightening. I don't want to be isolated because I know how my mind works. So when I go out and interact with other people, I'm building up endurance to be able to handle it. Because every time you go out in public, every time you stream, or every time you just talk with other people, even on like Discord, it makes you stronger because you're learning how to cope with all the external stimulus. And I know it's hard for a lot of people to understand, but this is what I have to work with. I can't choose, that a different brain. This is uniquely mine, and it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's where I draw a lot of my own strength that a lot of people don't have. So yeah, like people have these like misconceptions about me. Others might have. They assume that all I do is stream. When that's like one of the... I don't even stream that often anymore. Like, I don't understand why people would think that whenever I turn off my stream, that means I'm doing nothing. Like, you have absolutely no idea what I do off stream. I talk about it, if people would actually want to listen. But instead, they don't want to listen. They just want to call me a loser. They want to feel better about themselves by criticizing me when they're just projecting. Because everybody in my support system has indicated to me that I am doing a lot to improve my life. And some things are just out of my control. Unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world. But the person who's the most hard on myself is me. Like, I'm not even on social media that often. But when I'm here, I'm here. And I don't know why people think that just because... It's like you do something over time long enough, you're going to kind of pick up where you left off. I'm not going to, like, pretend like I haven't been on social media the past 23 years. I mean, obviously, why would I pretend? Just because I'm on in a healthy way in a more balanced way. Why does it have to be so all or nothing for so many people? They're like, oh, either you're on the internet for 12 hours a day playing Call of Duty with people on Discord and sharing memes, or you just have to not be on the internet at all. Like, why isn't there any nuance? Why isn't there any allowance for a healthy, balanced lifestyle? Just because I'm online doesn't mean I'm always online. In fact, I don't even stay online very long. We kind of do it in short bursts. And like I'll chat on Discord because I'm very accustomed to internet chat. And I don't know why people seem to think that they're better than me, when they're the people who are there all day, terminally online, unable to have any self-discipline, when I'm the exact opposite of that. When I'm on the internet, I focus on it and then I stop. And then I move on. I do other things. I go out and exercise. I attempt to go out into the community in the best way I can right now. But right now, I'm in a situation where I don't really have mental bandwidth for so much. There's only so much I can handle right now. And I'm pushing myself so hard already. And it's like I'm putting way too much expectations on myself. You know, I'm going to like a class, you know, for like, you know, body conditioning for dance. That's really helpful for my health in general. Whether you're going to use it for dance, it's not just about dancing. It's like strengthening muscles surrounding your joints. That's useful for anything to prevent injury. I'm going on a walk or a bike ride or something for, you know, or running or rollerblading an hour a day. You know, on rest days, I kind of do some light walking. I've been doing that since I heard the news that my surgery will be delayed. And having the surgery delayed is a pretty big blow. But I can't do anything but do my best to bring my A1C down so that the doctor will want to do the surgery. And I really wish this wasn't the case, but I can only work with reality. And so sometimes all I can handle is staying inside, reading some Tolkien, journaling, or watching YouTube. And there's things that I try to do to get out into the community, but it's really overwhelming when I'm already dealing with so much. And it might not look like most people I think a lot of people look in on what they think is going on with me, and they assume they know everything about it. Because, of course, that's what people on the internet do. They see something and they automatically assume everything about what that implies. You see me streaming and you think that that's all I do. Because that's all you see. Like, it makes sense if you would just think about it. I'm not going to be streaming the other parts of my life. Why would... Like, there's a lot of private parts that I'm not going to share because they're just so nuanced, and obviously you can't stream 24/7 of every single thought you have. That would be weird. But even then, like, it's just not possible. There's so many things that happen in your life that only exist privately. And it should be that way. You wouldn't want it to be public all the time. But for some reason, people don't want to see that nuance. They just want to assume that they saw a video of me, you know, and they just assume the worst about me. They think that I'm a loser. They think that all I do is hang out on social media and never do anything to improve my life, when I'm doing the exact opposite of that. I barely use social media. And it only seems that way because when I do use social media, I I continue where I left off. And obviously, since it's been 23 years, it's going to pick up where it left off. It's been there for a while. So that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, I don't really think, like, most of the time, I really don't think that I'm doing so poorly as I think that I am. Because I'll often criticize myself of, like, being a failure, when a failure doesn't pull up a, you know, uh, doesn't pick up like a paint tool and draw graphs about how she thinks. A failure doesn't analyze things. A failure doesn't try to improve. And that's exactly what I've been doing every single day, is trying to improve, even though I'm not always actively, like, doing it in this specific outlined way. These things are happening in different ways. Like, these things are happening internally. I'm constantly working on these things. Yeah, I think I've learned how to calm my thoughts, from meditation, being able to kind of shut down intrusive thoughts, being able to not allow myself to get upset by external stimulus. I think there's a lot to be proud of over what I've accomplished these past 4 years. And anything that I use that can improve my life shouldn't be considered a waste of time. That when I open up my stream, it's because I use it as a tool. And even though it doesn't always seem like it has a point to it, it does. And sometimes I don't even really know what else I could be doing. Like, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I've kind of established that are beneficial to me, but there's also a lot of empty space. And what can I do with that empty space? I mean, I don't think anything is ever a waste. Because sometimes rest and just allowing yourself to just sit in silence and not have any thoughts, like, that's meditation. Not necessarily, meditation is more active. But even just allowing yourself to completely just, like, not even meditation, just kind of just sitting around and just letting things rest. I mean, you need that. And now if I want to, like, achieve things, and have certain goals, I don't have to be working on those 24/7. I could pick up where I left off. I don't have to get the goal right away. I can like work on it, and then there is no failure. There's only progress. I don't have to like start over from scratch every time. That's not what's happening. It's a delusion that I'm deluding myself into thinking that every time I start something that I'm starting over. Because I feel like internally, even when I have knowledge that it's not true, I have this idea that when I start an activity towards a goal, that I've lost all progress every single time and that I have to start over. When that's like not true at all. That literally, whether I want it to or not, the progress from previous attempts adds up, regardless of what you intend it to be. If you write down, like, if you write down your ideas on paper, eventually you're going to fill that paper. And you're going to have to get a new paper. You know, you don't start over from a fresh piece of paper every time that you lift your hand from the page. You write the next word. And even if you took a 10-minute break, you just continue where you left off. Right now, the only things that I absolutely need to be doing are things that I'm already doing. So I have a lot of extra space. And I kind of just need to let time happen. Because there's not really much else I can be doing. I've reached my limit. So I can kind of capture what I already have. And I've kind of developed my streaming ability to have it not really affect me that much. It kind of just captures where I'm already at. And it does so in a way that doesn't get me stuck. Because even though most of the time there's not really anybody watching, there might be. And having that idea in your head changes things. Because there could be 0 people watching, but the fact that there's the potential for people to be listening and the potential for people to be interacting, that's a very different kind of workflow than just being isolated into my own workflow, which is different, and it's something that I'm establishing as well, but that fundamentally cannot exist on stream. And likewise, this fundamentally can't exist in that space. So it only adds to my ability to reach my goals. It doesn't take away. And some people might understand this, but there's people out there who will never understand it, and I don't really care what they think. Because I know that the only thing that really matters are my values and achieving my goals. And if other people think, you know, other people might be projecting their own goals, and when they see me, hey, welcome back, Eugene. When they see me, they attach all this meaning to what my actions are based on what their preconceived notions are. For example, if your goal is to build a professional portfolio, then streaming is the worst thing you can do. Because you'd be better off building the portfolio. Like, when I start to work on my modeling portfolio, I'll be reaching out to photographers and paying people for professional headshots and body shots. And I'll get, I'll hire somebody to do my makeup professionally and my hair, for like a professional photo shoot so that I can have a portfolio. And then I can use that to send to agencies. But I'm not in the right headspace for that right now. And I know I am not, because I know myself really well. And part of that is because of streaming. That if I didn't do this, I would have nothing. I would not have any tenuous hold on my ability to organize my life. I would not have my priorities straight. I would just have chaos, because that's where I was before I started streaming. And that's why these past 4 years in therapy and on stream, it's been a very difficult, bumpy ride, because I'm trying to overcome a lifetime of difficulty that I think most people can never really understand. Because if you can imagine streaming being something that helps somebody gain mental clarity, which streaming is like the antithesis of mental clarity. Like it's the way my mind works. I work in chaos. And so when I have more organized chaos, it becomes less chaotic. There's things that I could be doing that would build that professional portfolio, but that's not my goal right now. My goal is to have a steady, consistent lifestyle that'll get me through this surgery, because this has been the goal for about 15 years, and I've been actively pursuing it these past 4 years, because before then there was some in-between time where I was living in denial, even though, because this is difficult. Getting the treatments I've gotten, the surgeries I've already gotten, transitioning medically and socially and spiritually is hard work, and I avoided it. But nothing is going to make the work disappear. You can delay it. I mean, you can delay it, but that's what I was doing, but it's not going to change the work required. And I'm doing the work now. It's monumental. It is life-changing work. And right now I need to be focusing on that, because it's not for lack of trying. I have tried to build a professional portfolio. I just don't have those resources right now. And I can't be dedicating all that time and energy and mental space into getting those resources when this monumental task is more important for the moment. As soon as it's over, it'll be over. And then I can move on. And I wish it wasn't that way, but that's reality. You can only really work on one thing at a time. And this surgery cannot be compromised. There is no me without this. And I don't like thinking that way, but that's true. Everything is writing on this. This is a big deal. This surgery needs to happen. And I cannot focus my energy even on important long-term goals like building a professional portfolio, which are things that everybody needs to do. I'm not an exception, but I'm in a unique situation where I'm able to focus on what I need to focus on. And I'm not going to wear myself out and spread myself out so thin that I end up failing, because failure is not an option. And I wish I was stronger, but I'm not. I have limitations. And I don't like using autism as an excuse, but it is real. Okay, I'm not going to delude myself and live in a fantasy where I can match what people want me and expect me to be able to do. Because I've expected so much more from myself that I'm not capable of. And I've tried, and I've tried, and I've tried. I'm trying to get I'm getting rid of the word try from my vocabulary. I just did it. I'm not trying to, I am. But I have taken a lot of time and effort and energy into figuring out a way to overcome my disabilities. I understand my limitations, and I have to accept them, because if I don't, they will control me. Yeah, I think that's enough for this morning. I kind of need some space. So, thanks everybody for stopping by and kind of bearing with me through all this. It's been a difficult couple of years. Okay, it's been really difficult, and there's no way around it. There's just no way around it. I've tried, and I hate using that word, but it's true. It's true. Like, I have put so much effort into looking for ways to overcome the things that are holding me back. But there's only so much you can accomplish at once. And if you don't accept that, you're doomed to fail. Because you'll spread yourself out with like spaghettification. You'll turn into a big, long, wet noodle instead of being a strong, robust, like bow tie noodle, right? I need to have focus. And right now, the rest of my life needs to be put on hold. And it's not like I'm doing nothing, because all the stuff that I'm doing now is going to carry over to that. Like I said earlier, I have this preconceived notion that I'm starting over from scratch every single different activity I do. Like, no, everything that I'm doing right now to get me through this surgery is going to carry over to the next phase of my life in way more ways than I think I even realize right now. And I'm anticipating that. I'm not getting my hopes up, but like, I'm anticipating that the skills that are required to get me through this surgery, I'll be able to adapt towards building a professional portfolio and getting professional work as a model. Like, I might be scary good. Like, I don't even know what to expect. My expectations are that I'm going to have to work really hard. But maybe I don't have to work so hard. Maybe it'll just kind of work out, because I leveled myself up already. And maybe it's just hard to see right now because I don't have those resources. But when I have the resources, it's probably going to be like, oh, that's nice. I guess I don't have to work so hard. But until then, I have to focus. I have to be focused on what I need to do, which is surviving this surgery. And, I'm not going to be the one. I'm not going to be the one to cut my life short. Not if I can have anything to say about it. And there's a lot of risk when you live your life and there's so many external factors weighing on you that make you depressed and make you feel like you're a failure. It's important to remember that that's only temporary. And that there are a lot of things going for me that if I just hold on, they're going to pay off. Probably in ways that I can't even anticipate. I might be more successful than I could have ever imagined. But if I don't give myself that chance, then I'll never find out. I mean, it's that simple. I would rather try and not reach my goals than to not try at all. Because then you're for sure failing. To me, it's just a no-brainer that you pursue what you need to pursue. Because otherwise, you're never going to reach the goal. Anyway, bye-bye.